Guys, welcome back to another episode. I'm excited today. I've got a friend of mine on. Her name's Julie Martin. She was a broker owner of a real estate company that had about 20 agents. She had 4 offices. And she, a few years ago, I believe it's been a few years, we're going to confirm that in a second, decided to move her entire business over to eXp Realty. And so I'm pretty excited to have a conversation with her. We're going to find out all the burning questions that you guys are probably wondering as well. We're going to find those out in just a second. All right, let's bring her on. Julie, how are you doing today?
Great. Doing good. How you doing?
I gave you some walk-on music. What did you think about that? That was your little intro tune.
Is
that okay?
That was interesting. Yeah, that's good. That was good.
Is that not what you would have chosen if I gave you? I didn't give you the option, did I?
No.
I was like, this is what you're getting.
Yeah.
Here's the song you're getting. All right. So you owned a brokerage in Mobile, Alabama called Port City Realty, right? That was the name of the company?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you had about 20 agents, you had 4 offices, but yet you moved your company over to eXp, and we're going to get there. We're going to explain all the reasons and everything, but like, real quick, kind of what's the background that got you into Port City Realty? Maybe just get us there in 60 seconds of your experience in real estate. How'd you decide to even start the brokerage? Just maybe some of that for a background for us.
Okay, well, I started out in 1995. So I had a real estate license for about 6.5 years, and I mainly sold waterfront in South Mobile County. And there weren't offices in South Mobile County. I worked for the largest company in town, and I drove to Airport Boulevard near Hillcrest to go to work every day. And that was back in the day where you drove to the office to work because that's where the computers were, you know. So it was necessary to make that drive. And really, I kind of sometimes do things a little backwards, but one day I had thought about it a little bit, and around the corner from my house, I saw a for lease sign, and I called and I liked the terms, and I rented the office, and I came home and told my husband, I'm starting a company. I need you to build some walls, and I need to get my broker's license because I didn't have one. So I kind of, leased space and then did it kind of that way. But I worked at the other company through the end of July. And the last day of July, I had my last closing, and I got in the car. My son went with me. We drove up to Montgomery. I walked in and said, here's my application. When can I get my license? And they said, usually people mail them. And I said, I've got appointments tomorrow. I need it. Can I get it? And they said, come back at 10 o'clock in the morning. And I got it and drove down and went from there. Yeah.
Oh, nice. So you didn't wait for it to get mailed. You got yours in hand. You got that license.
Well, I couldn't do anything without it. I had
exactly.
to. So yeah, I went and got it. And that's when I started. Yeah.
Okay. Well, so, and then obviously years went by and you grew a team into about 20 agents and 4 offices. Now you told me before that you had heard of eXp. I think you had heard of it, or maybe one of your agents brought it to you, but you didn't have interest in it at that time. Like,
well, one of my agents, I had heard of it, but I hadn't looked into it at all. I mean, over the years, different people came to me with franchises, and I would look at them and I'd go, I don't see that it's worth the money I have to give them. I can do that for my agents already. I don't see where they're going to benefit or make more money, paying out more money. That didn't make sense to me. So I'd never done that. And, I'd seen the eXp. There was maybe when I came over about 20 agents locally that were at eXp, but I hadn't talked to any of them. And I'd gone to Inman and I'd seen the banners, but I really didn't know anything about it. And one of my top agents, which actually was a stockholder in the company, came in my office and said, "Have you heard anything about eXp?" And I said, "No." And she said, "I think you want to look at it." And I said, "Okay," because she wanted me to look at it. So I looked at it. And when I started looking at it, I just was like, this sounds too good to be true. I mean, it really
Yeah.
did. It just, you're suspicious of anything that sounds too good to be true, but it sounded like exactly what I wanted to do, but I did not have the knowledge, the tools, the ability. You can only do so much.
So, so I've heard the too good to be true item. I've heard that multiple times
mhm,
is like like a real reason of why
mhm,
agents and brokers and owners don't move over because they think there's got to be some kind of catch or something. Like
mhm.
what was it that you thought was too good to be true, and like what do you think that holdup might be like for others today, maybe that are looking and thinking the same thing? Like, is there a way for them to get past that? Or
I don't know. I made lots of phone calls. Like, I just started looking up agents across the country,
yeah,
and I started just calling people and talking to them and going, does it really work like this? And I finally, I was kind of convinced, okay, this seems to be legit. And so I started Googling broker owners who had moved to
smart.
eXp, because I wasn't just an agent. That wasn't really an option. I was like, well, I love this, but I have a company. If you're an agent, you can switch companies. If you're the broker owner, you really can't do that. I mean, you
Different ball
can,
game.
but you
Exactly.
can't do that. So
Exactly.
I found a broker owner in Boston and had a long conversation with her. And I said, is this, does it really work this way? Is it really this good? And she said, it's better. She said, you just don't know.
Crazy.
You're getting just a little bit of it. She says, but you don't know until you get over, and you really don't. But I talked to her for about an hour, and when I hung up the phone, like I said, the one agent, I had a broker that had stock in the company, and I called both of them, and I said, okay, this is what I have found out. I think we do need to look at this further. The agent was like, when can we do it? She was like,
Got
I
it.
want to do it like today. When can we do it? And I'm like, we have so much to look into. We have a
Right.
huge REO department. Can we
Yep.
bring that over, or are we going to lose it? I did spreadsheets of all of the agents. If they work for me, what would this was, by the way, January of 2020.
Okay.
So 2019 had been our best year ever. So I did a spreadsheet of what the agents had made and done and compared them to what I was seeing they would have made and paid out at eXp.
Yeah.
And of the 2016 of them would have made more money. And no one had
That's
ever
nuts.
come to me with something where all of my agents would have made more money. And I was, well, not all, there was a few that don't do a whole lot that wouldn't,
Yeah,
but
of
most
course.
of my agents would. And I was like, I have to tell them about it. I mean, okay,
So, s-
logically, they would have found out eventually anyway, but I felt like I needed to tell them about it. Yeah.
exactly. Okay, so it's leading me to more questions. And there's a few things I want to point out, maybe to people that are listening too, that
Mhm.
the REO, when you moved your company over, they did not necessarily have the REO as much support, but now apparently you said it's like it's insane the support that you can run your entire
Yes.
REO business, and they
Hmm.
will like front the funds. They have an entire accounting department that
Right.
handles each vendor, right? Like the big,
Exactly.
all the vendors.
Yeah.
So we won't get too much in the weeds there, but just anyone listening
Mhm.
know that when Julie moved her business over, they didn't even have the same support that they have now. And like I think that's crazy. Just as a so a lot of people listening, like people that are in my group, won't even necessarily
Mhm.
know that I have a broker's license as well. I had a real estate brokerage with my wife. I guess I should have said this earlier. I had a real estate brokerage with my wife. We were looking to grow agents, and then just very quickly said, "Oh my gosh, like don't want to do this. Like don't want to provide the support, the tools, the resources, the energy, the
Mhm.
time, the liability," and just said, "Okay, no, let's stay a two-person shop." So my wife and I stayed a two-person shop for like I don't know, 8 or 10 years or something. So the second thing you said is that you analyzed on a spreadsheet for your people, and that's really amazing that you did that. Now I think they will help walk broker owners through that
Yeah.
process and help you
Yes.
analyze it if it makes better
Hmm.
sense. And that's
Yes.
just pure money. That's just pure finances, right? Like cost
Right.
and
That's just
analyzing everyone's
finances. Yeah.
just
Hmm.
just looking at the data. That doesn't count any other reasons why you might move over. There's a bunch, but like that's just pure financials.
Financials, yeah, that's what the agents care about. I mean, they want the other
Exactly.
stuff too, but that's what is important, to them because they're realtors and they do the job because, they love people and they love showing houses, sure, but they
Yep.
do it for the money. It's how
Sure.
they're supporting themselves. And, you can't look at something and go, well, everyone would be better off. I think I won't tell them about it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
you
Exactly.
can't do that. Then you have to tell them about it. Yeah. So,
Okay, and so and the way that people watching this are probably gonna know because they're like I'm envisioning the people that are gonna find this video or people that are possibly broker owners or they have agents. They're already gonna know about the company. They're gonna know that like, okay, how do I actually move my team over, and how do I tell them about it, and what's the smooth way to do that? Like, um, how did you go about kind of talking to your people? And then
mhm,
shifting them over because now you are now a licensed agent at eXp with
right.
a broker's license, obviously. So
Mhm,
but you're a licensed agent, powered your company's powered with eXp Realty, and all of your
mhm,
agents are now um on your team basically. And so that's a part of that revenue share model, and we won't necessarily go into that in this
right.
video, but that's a part of what eXp has that people are looking
Mhm.
into. Um but so you move that team over. How did you logically make that work, or systematically? Like how did that process go for you?
Well, to start with, the Sally said, "Well, we can come down and do this big presentation. Come down from Boston. I'll be happy to do that and help you with it."
Wow.
And we've always been quite the it's not a mom and pop, but I mean, I've just talked to my agents. I've
Yep.
just always, so I just started with one agent and called and said, I've got something I want to talk to you about. And of course, I started with my top producer because you kind of tend to do that. And she had the same reaction as the agent that brought it to me. She said, "This sounds like what I've been wanting." She was one that had asked me several times, "Is there any way that you can do a cap?" And I was like,
Got it.
I'm too small for that.
Yeah.
I really can't, and I couldn't. I actually at that time paid her on the same split that she got at eXp, but she didn't have a cap. And so she was thrilled. She was, "How quickly can we do this?"
Yeah.
And I went down and I talked to them, and there was a variety of responses. There were agents that said, "This sounds fabulous." There was one of my top producers that doesn't like for you to, frankly, rearrange furniture. So she doesn't like change. And
Fair
she
enough.
was like, "I love Port City Realty. I don't want to do this. But if you do it, I'll do it. But I don't want to do this." She was against it. I had
Got
a
it.
few that just whatever you want to do. In the end of the 14, 16, and it wasn't the top 16, did move over. Four of them decided not to. Two of the four that decided not to, within 6 months, had contacted me and said, "Okay, we made a mistake. I want to move over." And
That's
they're with
that
me
speaks
now.
volumes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And
That
they
speaks
still
volumes.
called me the whole time. They were like at another company and they'd call me and say, "I've got a broker question." I'm
Yeah.
like, "What you got?"
You were
I
their
mean, because that's what they did. Yeah.
you were
So,
their unofficial
mm,
broker still. Yeah.
yeah, I'm still their unofficial broker,
So
but yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly,
Uh-huh.
exactly. Yeah, you're still providing support,
Mhm.
even though we have a dedicated
Yeah.
broker
Oh, yeah.
at EXP.
Mhm.
Uh, what was I just thinking? Oh, Well, I want to get to, I know that you also made your decision as the owner, running your
Mhm.
own numbers. And you told me that,
Right.
I think you told me when we talked last, I think you said that you personally are making more money and working less. Is that,
I
is that,
really am. I
I mean,
mean,
that
that's
sounds
really a
nuts.
thing. It does sound nuts. I just got back from a 2-week trip to Connecticut. I went to see my sister,
Yeah.
and she asked me over dinner one night, "Do you realize how much less you're working?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm working less." She says, "No, do you realize how much?" She said, "For years, every time we're doing anything, you're also working. And even if you take a trip, you're on the computer, you're working days, nights, weekends." She said, "You know, you were working during the day here, and then you're not working nights and weekends. And there's no way you would have taken a 2-week trip." She said, "You're really working a whole lot." You know, I did it gradually, I guess, but I don't work. And I started thinking about it. I probably average 30 hours a week now. And probably for 15 years, I average 60. So, yeah, I'm working a whole lot less hours now. And the income is better. So, you know, that's a
Y-
lot.
Yeah, like so,
Yeah.
like we talked about the expense side of running your
Hmm.
own shop. I think you were talking about a software that
Hmm.
you had for your team. What'd you say it was like $1,000 a month or something? Or
It was the CRM program I had for Port City Realty cost me
yeah,
$1,600 a month, and we have an almost identical program that is what all of the agents just get, including me at eXp. Yeah, the expenses of running a brokerage
for
are
free.
the
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
exactly. So,
yeah,
so at EXP, every agent gets that as a part of
yes.
our package, a part of the
Hmm.
tech stack.
Hmm.
You basically right off the top cut off, that expense on a monthly basis.
Right.
Obviously, you had your
Hmm.
office expenses,
Hmm.
um,
4. Yeah.
for offices. So wait. So for you to
Hmm.
do REO stuff now, do you still have
Hmm.
to? Obviously, you don't have to keep those offices, but do you?
We
How does
have
that work now?
teeny we have teeny offices. I
Okay,
mean, I have one office. The brokers that wanted to still have their own branch offices for REO purposes, they pay for their branch offices for REO purposes because,
gotcha.
you know, I've got mine, they've got theirs. We have an office downtown, an office up in North Mobile. So really, we only have a couple of offices now. I talked to somebody yesterday, and I might be getting another one in Baldwin County. There hasn't been a lot of REO business since COVID because
Yeah,
they didn't let anyone be foreclosed on for a couple of
exactly.
years, but it's coming back now. So we're gearing back up for that. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I think we're gonna see a flush of
Hmm.
that.
Yeah.
So okay. So before I leave the question on like you
Hmm.
decided you were gonna make more, so you're working less now and financially
Hmm.
it's better. Were you able to do most of that homework ahead of time before making the switch and feel good about the fact that you thought you would make, approximately the same income for yourself? Uh, or was that really difficult to figure out?
I thought I would make more money. I
Okay.
mean, just from the spreadsheet, and I knew I probably could have analyzed it a lot better,
Hmm.
but I could kind of get the general picture. I knew what expenses I was going to be losing.
Exactly.
I was going to be making some money from my agents, their production.
Yep.
I wasn't real clear on how all of that was going to work.
Gotcha.
Excuse me, but I felt like it was going to be better. I had no idea. Sally was right. I had no idea how much better, but
Gotcha.
I did feel like it was going to be better. I even had people ask me, a lot of people asked me, "Why didn't you sell? We
Yeah.
don't understand. If you're going to close Port City Realty, why didn't you sell?" Well, for one thing, I wasn't looking to sell. I mean, that wasn't even on my
Right.
radar,
Right.
that I wasn't looking for someone to buy. But the flip side of that is if I had sold, I would have made more money maybe right then. It would not have benefited my agents at all for me to sell. I mean, there was no benefit. They weren't all going to be making more money. We were kind of a group package. The only way for it to work would be for it to benefit everybody. And, so that's why I chose to do it that way. It never really occurred to me to go out and try to sell my company because I was just trying to improve everything we were doing. I wasn't trying to go out of business. We're still together. We're
Yeah.
still working. Yeah.
But
So,
but that's a really interesting question of people asking you that, like, wait a minute, now, so the answer makes sense. Like you didn't sell because you weren't for sale. Like you weren't trying to sell.
yeah,
But
no,
it makes me think, like, my question is, it makes me think of the thousands of broker owners across the US who have businesses and maybe they have small shops of 20 or less. Let's just use that number. Maybe
mhm,
it's a handful of agents or 7 agents, and they're kind of, they're mom and pop shops.
mhm,
Like a lot of those brokers are older, right? They're maybe 50
mhm.
plus or 60 plus or whatever. I just wonder, like, how, like, those are like every other mom and pop business in the US, as far as I see them as a real estate brokerage. Like, if you're mom and pop, it's very difficult to sell that. Like, it's not really sellable. Like, you don't have a
No,
book
there's
of
really
business?
no
Like,
value. I mean,
yeah,
you think there's value. I've been in business 20 years, well, 19. So you would think there's value.
yeah,
But if I sold and then all of my agents said, we don't like these people, and they didn't stay,
yeah,
what did they just buy? They didn't buy anything.
yeah,
And so there's really no value. And I've heard it said sometimes that they structure it where if you still work there and all of your agents still stay over a few years, maybe you can get some money, but they have to protect themselves in order to buy it. So really there's no value because the value is in everyone together. It's not in really anyone
exactly.
separately. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I just see,
Mhm.
I don't know if I'm missing something as a business owner, like, or looking at the EXP opportunity. I don't think I am, but I just think, like, all these, again, I'm gonna call them older age broker owners with mom and pop shops.
Mhm.
Like, if they don't have a plan, I guess one day they're just gonna turn off their switch and just, stop selling, and then all the agents just go somewhere. If they had a little bit of planning, they could move their business to EXP and then
Mhm.
forever have an income stream and not
Right.
have to do they don't have to do anything, right? I mean, I hate to say it like
Yeah.
that, but they could strategically move their entire team over, run underneath
Mhm.
eXp Realty. They can make a percentage as well as get stock option. Like, people don't understand that you
Right.
get stock for everything at
Yeah.
eXp as well. So
Yeah.
then you're a direct owner basically, which, on a side note, I think that's a genius thing that eXp does by giving so much stock for different things. When you do,
Mhm.
I think your first deal, you get stock. If you bring someone into the company, you get some stock. I think when you cap, I think you get stock. But, like, I just think that's so smart because it turns every agent into not just a contractor, but an actual owner, with real skin in the game with eXp. Um, so
It really does. And when you bring over your agents, they have absolutely the same opportunity you have. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
they
exactly,
are as much of an owner then as you are, and they can
exactly.
grow their team exactly like you can. And that was what appealed to me more than anything was everybody had the same opportunity. It wasn't me being the leader and them being at the mercy of what I wanted to do, you know.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a great
yeah.
point. Yeah, someone on your team that
Mhm.
you bring over could basically, create a business that's 3 times bigger than yours, and
Oh, yeah.
you still
I
benefit,
still benefit. I
Yeah,
still
that's right, that's
benefit.
right.
Yeah,
You still
yeah.
benefit
Mhm,
financially, because you make a part of that
mhm.
revenue, because eXp pays you a piece of their 20% take for
Right.
bringing that team
Mhm.
member on board. But, like, I'm sure you would be like,
Oh,
"Bravo,"
yeah.
like,
Oh,
grow
yeah.
grow that business, build that
Mhm,
thing, right? So,
mhm. How
um
can I help? Yeah. Mhm.
exactly. Okay, I wanted to ask you, like, I guess this is a two-part question. Like, what do you like the most about eXp? Like, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? And then what's the first thing, like, the least thing that you like? That
Oh,
that
that's
the
fun.
first things that come to your mind.
You told me you were going to ask me that, so I had to write it down because there's so much.
And if
Okay, the
nothing comes to mind, it's
opportunities.
okay. Yeah.
Actually, we just said, and my number one thing was the opportunity that everybody had. I mean, that to me was just major. I have I have very loyal, very good agents that some of them had been with me before the crash and stayed with me after the crash. And that's just major. They could have gone to a place, I
Yep.
don't know, where they were still paying the heating bill and still had staff. I have agents that stayed with me when I could no longer do that.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah.
it was important to me that they have the best, that I could possibly give them. So that is one thing that I knew that I liked going in. What I didn't know was the how much everyone works together at eXp. I've heard people go, but you don't have offices. Well, there's lots of offices around Mobile and Baldwin County and Alabama, and the world. But the way people work with you, yes, I will help somebody grow their team, but people that don't even know me, I can call them. Like we've recently started a separate team, the success team, and I wasn't really sure. I said, okay, I'm going to do something, organize it first and then do it, which is kind of not the way I've done things in the past. I called team leader after team leader. I reached out to people. They got on the phone with us. They told us what worked, what didn't work. They're more than happy to do it. It's just amazing. Any topic, you can easily find somebody that does that and they'll talk to you. We're realtors. We love to talk to each other. We love to problem solve. We need to tell someone something wonderful we've done. So they will do that. And everyone works together. Just, I've never seen anything like it. And I didn't expect in a big company to see people come together the way I see them come together at eXp. And I just really, really love that.
Interesting. That's cool. And on
Mhm.
that, just on a note to add, if people don't know, we're talking about a company with more than 80,000 agents and is
Yeah.
worldwide. So,
Yes.
another
They're everywhere.
in my opinion, that was another reason for me to jump on board. I have this
Mhm.
random goal. I'm like, how cool would it be to build a worldwide team? I don't
Mhm.
know,
And you
an
can do
international
that.
team. Exactly.
I
Like,
talk
I
to
think that would be
team
incredible.
leaders that are here and have a team in another country. I've
Yep.
also, do you ever listen to Glenn's podcast that he does twice a week?
I don't, but
Expansion.
should I?
Oh, you totally should.
Okay,
He does, I listen to it at the gym every day. And
cool.
twice a week, he interviews an icon agent. And
Mm,
so you hear their story. How did they get going? What works for them? And I cannot tell you how many team leaders have teams that are in multiple states, or they started a team. I just listened to one. His team was in Colorado. That's where he lived. Him and his wife decided to move to Florida. They moved to Florida. They have a team in Florida and a team in Colorado. They still do as much in Colorado as they do in Florida. It's seamless. I've gotten my Louisiana license since I've moved over because I have two sons in New Orleans. So I
okay.
decided that it would be nice to have my license there. So, it's real easy to do because it's all connected. And, so that's really cool.
So
Yeah.
that was a side point. If people listening just don't know
Hmm.
about that, to me, that's another thing. Like a mom and pop shop can't do
Hmm.
that. A mom and pop
No,
shop cannot grow in every state in the US and internationally. You're growing
right.
in your own state where you're licensed, right? So,
Hmm.
oh my gosh,
Hmm.
you're geographically locked. And that's not a bad thing. That's how every shop, traditionally has grown, but just in today's world and technology, you are not geographically locked anymore, basically. So,
You're really not. I've talked to one of my agents who's does a lot of historic properties. And
mhm.
I'm like, what if you did historic properties in the Southeast? You could do your license, but you could have the homes not just be
Yeah,
Mobile and New Orleans and I don't know, Natchez and Atlanta. And, you could have a whole theme, but you could have it be in a much wider area. So,
interesting.
it's something we kind of want to look at because it's a
Interesting.
kind of a cool concept. Yeah.
That could totally work. Okay,
Mhm.
so least favorite. Do you have a least favorite thing so far? Like try to be brutally honest. Is there something that's just
Okay,
terrible?
probably two things. And
Okay.
one is now there is a policy. eXp has a policy that has to do with recruiting and attraction, and
Yep.
it's a policy that I think a lot of people haven't read and they need to read it because there are EXP agents out there and they are a part of us that just drive people crazy. They shouldn't, that just drives me crazy. I'll talk to somebody and they'll say, I don't want to hear anything about EXP. I get 4 phone calls a day and I'm like, let me know who's calling you and I'll see if I can do something about it, because they're not supposed to be hounding people. We hear it
Yeah.
from the very top all the way down. Don't do that. If you're doing a good job, people will contact you. It's okay if you know somebody to talk to them about it, but you're not supposed to be hounding people.
Yeah.
And we all get a bad reputation from a small group, and it really is a small group of people, but boy, they can make lots of phone calls, apparently, So
I I
that
want
drives me a little nuts. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that kind of hurts it. That kind of hurts it for the others too. I wonder if they are trying to police that or find a way to be more strict or stringent about, that
I'm not
process.
sure, but I'm
I don't know.
sure anyone that was reported to their broker, they would, because there is a written policy on what you can and
Yep.
can't do. And if you're doing stuff you're not supposed to be doing, your broker is supposed to be handling it. So that
Yep.
shouldn't happen. Probably the other thing, and this isn't something I dislike about EXP as much as the concept of EXP. And we've just touched on it, and it's really too much to really go into. But with the revenue share, you get a lot of comments from people because it's such a foreign concept to a lot of agents making money from other agents that you bring on. You hear, oh, it's a pyramid.
Yeah.
You hear that from people. It's just a pyramid scheme. Personally, in my office at Port City Realty, all of the agents already got overrides on agents that they brought in because that made sense to me in the beginning.
Yeah.
So when I saw that, I never even thought pyramid. I went, oh, good. My agents can come over and still make it. And when we came over, we put everybody under who they were already under. So everybody was still making money off the agents they had already brought in. So, we just did it that way. It made sense to me, but apparently it doesn't make sense to a lot of other people. They don't understand everyone's growing their business. And that's
Yeah.
part of growing your business. They seem to be okay with the brokerage making all the money. I don't know.
Exactly.
They don't like
Yeah.
it when everybody's making the money. That seems weird to
Y
them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm totally with you on both of those. They
Mhm.
both make sense, and yeah, I on the second one, I don't know how you combat that except yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I if someone it's kinda hard to change, I guess, change
Yeah.
someone's mind or if
Yeah.
that's what they're thinking. I mean, at the end of the day, like, it's every organization known to man is kinda set up in that structure where people make money off of I mean, traditionally, that's how a brokerage is set up anyway, right? A broker recruits agents and makes money from them, and just in
Mhm.
this setup, EXP said, "Hey, man, like, we'll pay you a piece of our cut if you can help us grow
Yeah.
the company." I mean, at the
Right.
end of the day, So,
Mhm.
um, I
So,
I
yeah.
think it's smart. I think it's really smart. So,
I love it myself, but, yeah.
all right, who is EXP for and who is EXP not for? If I were to ask you
Okay.
that.
I'm gonna go with who it's not for first.
Okay.
If you're an agent that likes to go in an office and sit around and visit with the staff, and that's part of who you are, and you like to take phone duty, and you like to get phone calls off of probably other people's listings. It could be some of your listings, but other people's listings. And that's how you like to do your business. This isn't going to be a good company for you, because you're
Gotcha.
not going to walk in the office and hang out with staff and take phone duty, So agents that are like that is totally not for. If you're not good with technology and you've really tried and you're never going to be good with technology, it's not for you,
Yeah.
because we're on the computers all the time, and so there are some agents that this just is not going to work for.
Yeah.
So that would be agents. And the ones, the two that didn't come back, that left, both of them, computers weren't their strong suit,
Gotcha.
and so it was just a little above. When they had to do something on the computer, they had to come in and somebody had to sit there and help them. Well, eXp is not for an agent like that, and
Yeah.
that's fine. They can still function and be a realtor without that, but they can't really do that at eXp. So those would be the
Exactly.
agents that it's not for.
I guess
Yeah.
if they could find their way into eXp world virtually, they could if they can get there, they could theoretically get all the help they want, and they could go talk to all the tech support virtually. But it begins with technology, right?
You got to be able to get there. And I thought I was good at technology, but let me tell you, I've never been a gamer.
Yeah,
and in the beginning, my avatar was just bumping into walls. I mean, I was like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. But now you can kind of tell when somebody's new occasionally, because you'll be watching a class and some random person will walk across the stage and they'll go, okay, somebody hadn't figured out their avatar yet, which is kind of funny. I mean, we've all probably had embarrassing moments in the world, but
yeah, I was gonna say, that was probably me. That was probably me at one of your meetings, walking by, like couldn't figure out how to sit down in my chair or whatever. I'm like, everyone's sitting down, hanging out. Here I am, just walking around trying to figure it all out.
Randomly standing up. So it's
exactly
kind of funny, but nobody thinks anything about it. So that's okay. But as far as who's it's good for, of course, agents that want to grow their business, agents that understand that it is a business. I mean, real estate is a business. It's a career. It's a business. You're not an employee. You can do as much as you want to do or as little as you want to do. If you really want to grow your business, this is a good way to do it. For broker owners, one of the biggest struggles for 19 years, it never ended, was trying to find the best training for the agents, trying to find the best tools for the agents, trying to keep the agents competitive. And that's hard. Right there can consume hours every week of just trying to make sure you stay on top. And eXp is, to me, more like a tech company that got in real estate than a real estate company that has the technology. They're always ahead of the game. They're not playing catch up. Yeah. And so that is wonderful that now when we have somebody new that wants to join us, we're like, okay, well, this is where the training is. This is what you do. Here's the programs. And I'm not having to figure that out anymore. And that to me is wonderful. I'm here for them. I'm a certified mentor. I'm about to get my coaching certification, but I can still be there to help them. But there is actual really good training programs and training tools and just everything you need. And so for broker owners, besides the money, just what they can do for their agents that they don't have to constantly try to figure out is just really good. Yeah.
That's good. Well said. Is there any final thing that we didn't cover that you wish we had that's just burning in your head? If not, no big deal.
Not really, not off the
Okay.
top of my head. I mean,
Okay.
there's so much that we could talk for
Yep,
hours.
of
I
course,
think
of
we
course.
did the day that we talked, but yeah, nobody
Yeah,
wants
we
to listen to us for hours. So
Yeah,
yeah.
we could go into more directions. And I know earlier I mentioned some things and I was like, well, let's not go down that
Hmm.
lane or whatever. Cause there really is a lot. And
Yeah.
we've talked and we may do some more
Hmm.
interviews and videos with some of the folks in your on your team from some different points of
Yeah.
view. But all right, so
And the
if folks
video maybe eventually for the REO agents, because that's a whole different thing there.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Whole different ball
Yeah.
game just
Oh
with
yeah.
eXp and how it operates.
Hmm.
Okay, okay.
Hmm.
Well, let's
Yeah.
yeah, let's follow back
Hmm.
up on that. But if
Yeah.
so if people want to reach out to you, whether they're I don't know, they're an agent or they're a broker owner, it doesn't matter. But if someone wants to connect with you
Right.
and connect, what's the best way for folks to do that?
Well, my phone number is 251-665-4665. I do have my website. You can still get to me at portcityrealty.com. It's technically julie.martin at exprealty.com. My email is julie.martin.exp@gmail.com. I'm on Facebook, Julie Martin. You can get me there. I'm on Instagram. I'm on
Okay.
LinkedIn, so I'm
Everywhere.
easy to find. If you
Everywhere.
Google me,
Yeah.
put in Julie Martin, Mobile, Realtor, Mobile, Alabama, and you'll get 2 or 3 pages of places you can reach me. Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. All right, cool. Yeah. So yeah,
Mhm.
you gave 'em all the places. That works. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Julie. Well, cool. Well, thanks so much for hanging out today and taking the time. And I hope
Okay.
that I hope some broker owners get some value out of this if they're looking at EXP or maybe they haven't given it time yet, but maybe they
Mhm.
think they should, or maybe they have an older company and they're like, oh, what am I going to do with this company long term? I mean, hopefully this
Mhm.
gives them some value. So yeah, thanks so much for hanging out, and we'll catch up
Certainly.
some more soon. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Talk soon. All right. Bye. All right, guys. So that was Julie Martin. That was awesome. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that conversation. Julie's fun to chat with. We've known each other for a few years in our city of Mobile, Alabama, and yeah. So if you're out there, and maybe you watch this and you don't even have a real estate license, that's very doubtful. But if that's the case, I actually argue I think most people should get a real estate license. I think it's beneficial for people to do. And obviously, if you're a broker owner, reach out to Julie. Reach out to me. I'll make sure I have a link here. I'll have Julie's info and I'll have my info where you can connect with me or Julie and ask your questions. And we'll see you on the next one. Take care. Hey guys, thanks for hanging out with us. We'd love for you to share it, maybe with a friend, review it, and don't hesitate to reach out and say hello. You can connect with us and see the resources that we talk about at destroytheboxwith.us. That's www.destroytheboxwith.us. See ya.